Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of What's This Host City. I'm your host Roy, this is ESC United, and today we are in Rotterdam. Yes, the group of cities is narrowed down from 5 to 2, and we're gonna take a look at Rotterdam today. We're going to the venue to show you around how it looks like, what it would be like if Eurovision would be hosted there. We're also going to go into the city center to give you the nice hotspots of the city, to show you how that looks like as well. And we're going to throw plenty of facts at you. So without further ado, let's do this. So we're standing in front of the proposed venue for Rotterdam. It's called Ahoy. It's kind of a strange name, we'll get to that. So Ahoy is a venue that can host around 16.5 thousand visitors. I don't think they'll have that for Eurovision though, because you need a bigger stage, so it'll probably be more around 13,000, I don't know. That's up for the organization. So Ahoy Rotterdam, why is it Ahoy? Well, they had an exposition in 1950. You know, there was a war, so they bombed the entire city and harbour of Rotterdam. So because they were rebuilding the harbour again in Rotterdam, they decided to hold an exposition called Ahoy Rotterdam. Like this event, well, it was smaller back then of course, but they had this temporarily for the exposition, and they decided to keep it. And why? Well, just people wanted to hire the room, they wanted to hold concerts there, and they expanded on it year by year, and it's now as big as it is right now.
You hit the road, but you don't realize I won't look back when you're around. I won't think twice when you're gone. Don't hesitate to call me back, 'cause I won't be there. I won't look back when you're around. I won't think twice when you're gone. Don't hesitate to call me back, 'cause I won't.
So they are busy kind of renovating the venue a little bit. They add an extra thing up front, so we can't really film too much here. They're also kind of busy unloading things. So we're just going to keep it in two segments. So let's just talk a bit about the venue. So the venue has like 6 halls besides the main big arena, and this is also really big. I think it would actually be in this arena, in this hall right here. The 6 halls could be really easily used for press conferences, for press center, for dressing rooms, all that kind of things. It would be really ideal for that, right? They also have very much experience with hosting big events, like the Premier League of Darts came here, which is like a big crowd. They also organized Junior Eurovision here before, and they organize a really big event in the Netherlands called Vrienden van Amstel Live. They promote that as the biggest pub of the Netherlands, and it's usually a big party where a lot of big Dutch artists come. So I think we found a slogan for Rotterdam 2020, the biggest pub from Europe. That would be a cool slogan, right? So without further ado, let's dive into the city. I think I've said enough. I think I've shown enough. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, before we dive into the city center, it is time for your favorite segment of the episode. It is time for Random Fact of the episode. Today's random fact is of course about the harbor. This is the old harbor behind me. It's only really used for people living on the boats. It's not the big harbor of Rotterdam, of course. But Rotterdam used to be the #1 harbor of the world. It got overtaken by 7 Chinese, 1 Australian and 1 Singaporean harbour. So it's now the number 10 in the world, but still the biggest of Europe. Besides that, we still have one random for you. People from Rotterdam call this city the building pit. Why is that? Well, they're still kind of building it up, so everywhere across the city they're always busy building the city. So because of that, they call it the building pit, and that's my random fact for you guys.
I won't look back. I don't know why she told me it's not your fault, but you don't realize.
So guys, we're standing in front of the Zuiderpark. This is a beautiful park where we could potentially put a Eurovision village. It is really big. There are a lot of places where you can just chill, hang out, have a beer, listen to some music, what you want. Only issue is that it's like really close to the venue. The parking place is literally in front of me, besides my cameraman, but it's there. So I'm not sure if that's really what a Eurovision village should be. It's really close by. If it's suitable, cool. It's really big, it's really cool. But yeah. Let's talk airports. Airports are of course really important, and Rotterdam has its own airport. The only issue with that is that it only goes to about 40 destinations. So if you have more than 40 countries coming to Rotterdam, that's not necessarily the best thing. So I think it would be better to go to Schiphol. It's only about a 20 to 30 minute connection by train, and if you go by car or hire an Uber, it is about 40 minutes. Depends on the traffic. The traffic is kind of like, you have a lot of traffic jams around here, so it can definitely be longer too. But yeah, that's about it for the airport. Let's check out the city a little bit more.
Don't hesitate, hold me back, 'cause I won't be there. I won't look back.
So I hope I showed you guys enough from Rotterdam. It's time to go home. I just finished dinner, so it's why I'm holding this microphone in my hand right now, because I'm not really wanting to put it back like normal. Yeah, I know. Let's go to me in the future as the editor to give the review of Rotterdam. I firmly enjoyed the day, and I hope you enjoyed it too. So let's check out what my rating is. So we are back home from our trip to Rotterdam, and I've also been to Maastricht afterwards, and I'm really glad that I did do that because you know, I could make a little bit of a comparison between the two cities, and I think it's really important because, you know, if I didn't go to Maastricht straight after, then I would probably give Rotterdam a little bit of a higher rating because I couldn't really compare the two, and that's kind of really what we're doing right now, right? So yeah, Rotterdam was cool, it was a lot of fun. I went there with a friend that I know for quite some while. So it was really fun to check out the city. I'd never been there before either. So without further ado, let's get into the rating of Rotterdam. So the first category, oh by the way, I'm not sure if Matt uploaded the previous episodes because, you know, we'd finished Utrecht, we were both editing till 4 a.m. and then the next day we were gonna upload the video, but Utrecht decided to, well, not Utrecht, but they decided to pull Utrecht out of the race, so all the editing was for nothing. Same with Arnhem. If you want to see those videos, just comment in the comment section below and just let Matt know that we want to see those videos, okay? So yeah, let's do that. But I explained in that I'm gonna give ×2 points for the venue, because, you know, the venue is the most important thing about the whole city, right? So yeah, that's gonna happen. Let's get into the venue. So the venue is, of course, the... Whoa, Ahoy. I had a moment there. The venue is, of course, Ahoy, and it is actually a really good venue. You know, it's not the biggest in the world, and I'm not really sure which of the two halls they'll use. It's definitely a good size for having Eurovision. So I'm gonna give 4.5 stars for the venue. It's quite high, you know, it's still not perfect, you know, because it's a little small maybe for Dutch things, but yeah, 4.5 stars is really good. Times that by 2, that makes 9. So accessibility, Rotterdam is of course quite a central city. It is close to Amsterdam. You could even go to Rotterdam Airport if you really wanted to. You can go to a lot of things that are to do there around the area rather easily. The only issue is that it is a little bit of a metro drive from the train station towards the venue, and even then you still need to walk like 7 minutes towards the venue to be there finally. So that is like my biggest downside about Rotterdam. So I'm gonna give 4 stars for accessibility. Now let's go and move on to city design. City design, you know, Rotterdam is so difficult to judge because it's such a different city from all the other cities in the Netherlands that I've been to. Maastricht is like very old and whatnot, and Rotterdam is like super new with a few old buildings still left standing from World War II. But it's kind of difficult to just rate that. And Yeah, I've been deliberating with myself, what should I do, how many stars should I give, and I've decided to give it 4 stars. I think the new buildings that are there are totally different. It's like a very modern city, but they are rather pretty. Like the Markt Hall, it is really big and really cool, and there's a lot of food inside, which is always good, right? Yeah, 4 stars for city design from me. On to tourism. So, yeah, you need to do a lot of things when you have some bit of time to explore around the city and in the city maybe even. Rotterdam is of course quite in the middle of things, you know, there are a lot of big cities around it. Amsterdam is nearby, The Hague is nearby, Utrecht is nearby. You can definitely go to the big things, big touristy things around the area rather easily. And there are also a lot of things to do in Rotterdam. You can go into the Euromast and check out the entire city. There are a lot of different things to do. So I'm gonna give Rotterdam 4.5 stars on the tourism factor. Now on to the Eurovision factor. Now, you know, Rotterdam is quite like a new city, so it also has a lot of new ideas, I think. There are a lot of things for the LGBTQ community. There are a lot of gay bars around where you can party, I guess. So I think a lot of good things happening in Rotterdam right now. So I definitely think it should get a higher rating for the Eurovision factor. Is it like the best in the world? Probably not. It doesn't really have a very famous canal parade like Amsterdam has, or maybe even that Utrecht has. But you know, it's definitely got its own flavor of LGBTQ things, I guess. So I'm gonna give that 4.5 stars out of 5. Now that makes a grand total for Rotterdam, drum rolls, 27 out of 30 stars, and that is really, really high. I think Rotterdam is really suitable for Eurovision. If it were to come there, no doubt it would be a good Eurovision. So yeah, definitely high scores from me. So yeah, that was the video. I hope I showed you guys enough. I hope you really enjoyed the episode. Make sure to follow our forum, follow our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Make sure to comment on the video, like, subscribe, maybe follow me on Instagram. And without further ado, I'm gonna go and edit this episode further. Also, Maastricht will be filmed very soon. Make sure to keep an eye on the YouTube channel. It will all come on online. And if you want Matt to upload the other episodes, just tell him, guys. Tell him, okay? So without further ado, see you in the next episode.